Hello to all my DIY mechanics. In this video I'll show you how to replace the spark plugs on your Saab 9.5, what you need to be aware of and what the old spark plugs can tell you about the quality of your engine's combustion. Changing the spark plugs in Saabs is recommended every 20,000 kilometers, but especially if you buy a car used or have problems such as rough engine running or jerking when accelerating, or the car does not start well, you should change the spark plugs once. New plugs are not expensive and replacing them is quick and easy to do at home. All you need is a spark plug socket wrench, which is included in most toolboxes. Before the video starts, please note that this video is only intended as an assistance and is not a manual. I am not liable for damage to the vehicle or injuries. To access the spark plugs, the ignition cassette must first be removed. To do this, remove the typical Saab safety plug on the right and these 4 Torx screws. The ignition cassette can then be simply pulled off upwards. Although it sits a little tightly on the spark plugs, nothing is glued or attached in another way. Now you can see the spark plugs of the 4 cylinders. The 16mm spark plug socket wrench is now placed on the spark plug and pressed on firmly, as there is a piece of rubber in the wrench that holds the spark plug in place when it's pulled out. The spark plug can now be unscrewed anti-clockwise. Now you can take a closer look at the spark plug. It gives you important information about whether there is proper combustion in the individual cylinder or whether there is a problem. Here you can see an ideal use spark plug. No wear, deformation or melting of the electrodes, no damage of the insulator, no excessive buildup of carbon particles. This fawn brown color of the mass electrode indicates an ideal air-fuel mixture ratio and the correct combustion temperature. In case this looks different for you, it is worth investigating what the cause could be. I have found a great summary of the possible spark plug images with a description of the cause from the spark plug manufacturer Biru here on the internet. I'll put the link to the PDF file in the video description. Has this video been helpful so far? Then please leave a thumbs up and a subscription. Now let's move on to which spark plugs should be installed. Saab is once again a bit special. I'll put a link to suitable spark plugs in the video description. The distance between the 2 electrodes must be at least 1 mm, otherwise the ignition cassette may be damaged. In addition, spark plugs with a resistor must be used, marked with an R for resistor, on the NGK plug. NGK BCP-R6ES11 are recommended for the 2.3 turbo with 185 horsepower. These have an electrode gap of 1.1 mm as indicated by the 11. They are also available as BCP-R6E/11, so without the S, which have a V-shaped notch so that the ignition spark jumps over at the edge of the center electrode, which should lead to greater ignition reliability. These were installed in my car and at first I wondered what the notch was supposed to be. That's why I say it now. For the 2006 Aero with 260 horsepower, platinum plugs, for example the PFR6H/10 from NGK, are recommended, although these are more durable and supposedly only need to be changed every 60,000 kilometers. They are also significantly more expensive. In the Saab forums, it's often said that the spark plugs from the manufacturer NGK should be used. I have actually installed platinum plugs from Biru in the Aero and I have no problem so far. However, now that I've read up on the subject in depth for this video, I would probably just fit the NGK BCP-R6S11 as well in the Aero. The tuning company Hirsch, for example, also does this, and I guess they know what's good for the engines and what works. You have to decide for yourself, but as I said, you can in fact install the NGK BCP-R6S11 in all 2.3 liter engines. Now, you have purchased the correct spark plugs and the old spark plugs show no signs of combustion problems, then the new spark plug can be screwed back in. I would always unscrew one plug, inspect it and screw the new one back in. Don't take them all out first and then put them all back in. This minimizes the risk of dirt and other debris falling into the combustion chamber through the open holes. Insert the new spark plug into the spark plug socket wrench and screw it back in a clockwise direction by hand as far as possible. As we have a flat seat type with a seal here, The right hand picture applies to us, so now use the ratchet for another half to 2/3 of a turn. This should be around 25 to 30 Newton meters if you are using a torque wrench, but it also works without. Well, that's it. You have successfully replaced the spark plugs on your Saab 9.5. Congratulations. Do you have any further questions? Feel free to leave me a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. The air filter should also be checked at the same interval as the spark plugs to see if it's very dirty, and should be replaced after 40,000 kilometers at latest. Saab is also a bit special when it comes to the air filter, so it's best to watch my video about it. I would also be very happy about a thumbs up on this video and a subscription to my channel, so that I know that the time I put into the production of this video was worth it. See you next time then, take care, bye.